Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk show here on UrbanCast. This evening or this afternoon, we are discussing an important issue that impacts our community, school funding within District 62 here in Rapides Parish. There have been some concerns about the allocation of bond money, the conditions of school facilities, and transparency in how these funds are being used. Joining us today is Sterling Brown, a concerned citizen who's been following the issue closely. Sterling, I certainly want to welcome you to the show this afternoon.
Appreciate it, Jack. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine. This issue that we're concerned about right now, it is going to be discussed today in the 5 o'clock uh, Rapides Parish School Board meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, Sterling. I think we don't need to get really off into it and all that kind of good stuff. But I just want everybody to understand that anytime you got an issue that you have and you have a concern about it, if you got some current concerns, just give us a holler. So if someone has some feedback that they'd like to have about this meeting, give me a call and we can certainly set up something and we can talk about it as well. What we want to do here on UrbanCast is always make sure we're giving everybody equitable access and equal access to having a discussion about those things that matter to us here in Central Louisiana. Sterling, can you go ahead and start off by telling us what initially drew your attention to this funding disparity within District 62? And District 62 is Alexandria, right?
Yeah. City limits. The schools. That we deal with within city limits of District 62. So what drew my attention to it is the money that was already allocated for the Peabody feeder system to redo the field house, and there were funds that were in our budget to redo the field house. But what got my attention is the FEMA has came up with reclassifying what's a flood zone, what's not a flood zone, and it was already in the original budget to remodel and bring the current field house up to code. But you can't do that now because of the flood elevation that has changed in this entire area. Just about everything on the lower third side of town, from downtown all the way down to Acaden Village and back across, is now deemed as a flood area. So you can't remodel a existing structure such as the field house in Peabody. You have to either build a new facility. You really have to build a new facility because there's no way to lift it and do all of these things, because in that case, you're going to be redoing the whole stadium. So Mrs. I think it's Miss Doty, Miss Domite, and Roy Rochelle, which is the superintendent. Well, I ain't gonna say superintendent. He's the supervisor of maintenance for all the District 62 projects, and also for the school board, requested additional funds so that we can build a new structure. Now, on top of that, we got 400 plus kids from Bowdoin that come from Bowdoin over to Peabody. And as they always say, wherever the students go, the money should follow. And this is a classic case of the money following the students, because we have in the original field house, we only have 40 lockers. And we got 80 plus kids already want to play football. Plus, we got a bunch of new freshmen coming in that want to play football also. So we need the proper facility to house these students and these kids that want to play football. Our field house was built back in the 60s or 70s. It's the same old field house. And we shouldn't be having these same issues in 2025 about something that's already in a budget that was included. Again, Ash got an additional $10 million more than any other feeder school system in the district. So whatever they had in their budget is in their budget. And they chose to do what they chose to do within their budget. This money here has been allocated for our field house for remodeling, but Ms. Domite and Mr. Rachel they're requesting an additional, I think 1.3 to 1.6 million so that we can build a new facility, because you cannot remodel the existing facility due to the fact that FEMA changed the elevations, the elevation requirements for a building. So that is the issue, and it shouldn't be in 2025 a black and white issue of the past. The only black and white issue we have, and it's really not an issue, is looking at what's on that white piece of paper with those black letters that's been typed up with the money that's already been allocated, and they make the right decision as school board members. We shouldn't be going through all of this.
So what you're saying is that, you know, there was and correct me if I'm wrong, there were dollars allocated to upgrade the field house. However, now you know, what wasn't included in the whole process was the ability to you know, go forward with that construction as is, because new codes say, hey, you got to have this thing at a certain height at this point. Is that what you're saying? And so that's, and therein lies what's costing us extra money.
Money.
Okay, extra money.
And we have no control over that, because this is what FEMA requires.
Okay, all right.
So it's not that we're raising hell or we trying to make a fuss about something, but it shouldn't be any other complaints, or it shouldn't be any other issues with something that's in our original budget. It's just that I'm thankful that Mr. Rochelle and Ms. Domite are aware of the changes that FEMA made and is requesting the money so that we can get the proper facility. So Ash has a brand new facility just getting built. Pineville already has one. Tioga already has one. Why is it that we still in the same structure from the 70s? And it was in the original budget for us to get a new field house.
So is there some, and you know, I guess I'm just trying to drive down to, is it at this point we're saying that we can't move forward with the project because we don't have the money to move forward, but yet and still we do have the money?
No, the money is there. The money is there. It's just that we haven't pushback from a certain group of parents from Ash, and it shouldn't be a pushback where, again, Ash got an additional $10 million more than any other feeder school in the District 62 bond. What more do you want? What more do you want? This, I mean, you know, in our original budget, because I'm very familiar with it, because I had to sit here and actually meet with people over at Peabody, the administrators, and met with neighborhood watch groups. We met with the superintendent. We had to make phone calls and talk to people because they didn't trust the process, because it's always been, but they say this, they say this, they say this, but now it's manifesting. We're getting a new Arthur F. Smith build. We're getting things done to Peabody that should have been done. We got a new track. We got the money to get the new field house. The thing about it is that things are finally happening in our schools, and yet and still we still going through some of the same things that we have to go through, and this shouldn't be all of this. Now, am I confident that the school board members are going to make the right steps and vote the right way? Yes, I am, because what's written in stone is already there in black and white. And like I said again, we shouldn't have the issues of this black versus white that's been going on between us as human beings and people. And the only issue of black and white right now should be what's on paper, and that's not an issue either, because the money was already appropriated in our original budget. It's just that FEMA has these new regulations where you cannot remodel an existing structure because it does not meet the elevation guidelines, and they need the additional money. They requested the additional money to build a new facility.
Well, let me throw this question. I guess I'm a little off the script, but there's been a lot of discussions about the bond allocation for the different schools. Can you break down what's happening with Peabody Fieldhouse funding versus schools like Ash, and I'm just gonna say Ash because we all in one pocket in that one bucket called District 62, and so I guess the question is, you know, it seems like I think some people might be missing the argument a little bit as to nitty gritty what is actually is the parents at Ash saying, hey, we don't want to do the project over at Peabody, or is it a situation where there's only a certain amount of funding and somebody else is wanting to do something else with some of the funds, and that might impact the Peabody project as a whole?
Well, I mean, you know, Peabody has its original money. And this goes back to what I'm saying, where Mrs. Domite and Mr. Rochelle has requested the additional 1.3 or 1.6 million dollars so that they can meet the guidelines of what FEMA has established as the new elevation requirements to have a facility. You cannot remodel the old field house. You have to build a new one. So it's going to cost an additional 1.3, maybe 1.6 million dollars to do it. The original budget was for us to remodel, but we cannot remodel. So where the issue is coming in at, we have people on the other side that's saying that, well, we need to get this done, that done, and that done at our school. But guess what? You had 10 million more dollars than any other school. And what y'all wanted over at your school, the money has been allocated to y'all. What more do you want? You're getting a new field house. You got a new educational wing added on to the school. All we want is the proper facility for our boys to be able to play football. We only have 40 lockers in the original field house, and we have over 80 kids that want to play. We have nowhere to put them. So it shouldn't even be an argument. It shouldn't be any discrepancy from any board member voting no for money to go to a new field house. Remember, we went from what, 800 kids to 1,300 kids just like that.
Right.
And those kids didn't actually get moved, but we accepted them all in. They want to play sports. They want to play football, basketball, baseball, soccer. They want to be in the band. We just want to make sure we getting what we supposed to get, and we're doing right because Peabody's moving forward. Everything that's been in the budget that said they was going to do is being done. It's just that according to FEMA and their new guidelines for elevation, we have to meet those guidelines, and this is what it's going to cost. And the money is there.
Yeah. So then, do you believe this change was, you know, it seems in Sterling that this change may or may not have been properly communicated with the public. Do you think, you know, running into that brick wall, and I think, you know, my understanding is, you know, just my experience in the whole construction environment, you're gonna always run into, you know, overruns, or not necessarily overruns, but unforeseen things that you didn't see coming. And it seems like the original plans didn't foresee this thing called a female elevation. And since the new plan didn't, you know, since the original dollars didn't account for that, now that it is a requirement to move forward with this part of the project, it's going to now cost us more money to do it. Well, that means that money got to come from somewhere, but it seems to me like some people are thinking that what this other little pot of money that money might have been in, you know, they had some plans for it, and now Peabody has a needed and necessary plan for it, and it seems like as a whole, the public, on the other hand, I hear, don't know what the heck is going on. I mean, just help me. I'm just trying to understand.
Well, but I'm not going to sit up here and say that it's no misconceptions when it's plain and simple. And it wasn't no miscommunication. The thing about it is that the misunderstanding is coming from people who don't understand construction and who don't understand FEMA and who don't understand elevations, elevation requirements. Again, I'm thankful, and Mr. Stewart is thankful, and people, the staff and administration and people within the community, they're thankful that Mr. Rachel and Ms. Domine are requesting this money to get us a new facility built. Because again, if you can't lift that thing up because you got to tear the whole stadium down. Then that means the football season is over with, and we'll be playing in somebody else's stadium. You understand what I'm saying? So it's easier to build a new facility, and the money is that it's not costing the taxpayer nothing. Us as taxpayers, it's not costing us nothing extra because the money is there within the District 62 bond from interest. The money is there. So this should be a unanimous vote to move this money over to where it belongs. Now, whatever is going on at Ash, Pineville, Tioga, hey, y'all have y'all budgets. But we need a new facility. This is a no-brainer. It shouldn't be no opposition. We shouldn't even have to be speaking on this, but we have to.
Well, it sounds like, when you hit that button called interest, it seems like that those interest dollars that are sitting out there are could have been used. I think it is communication, Sterling, and the reason why I'm gonna say I kind of it could possibly be communication, because if we earning some interest off of something, that's just some extra change now that we actually have in another pot. And then we got the general fund we possibly could go to, or the school building fund, or somewhere else, some other fund name somewhere within the school board's financial system to go pull the money out. And it seems like it's the logical thing, just looking at from what you're saying, that this is a requirement for us to meet our project. And our project was to put in an upgraded field house. We now find that we no longer can put in an upgrade. We got to elevate. That means for this particular structure, we literally got to tear down and start over. And in this thing over here called the interest, are some dollars that we could use to offset this thing that we want to do. But perhaps somebody else might have said, "Hey, I saw that interest sitting over there as well, and I wanted to do something else with it." I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if it was just, do we hold it here as a rainy day fund and get through everything? I don't know, but that's what it seems like to me. I'm hearing from you right now.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is that when
I'm not saying that nothing's wrong with that.
But no, there's nothing wrong with it. But look at interest. So this money then accrued interest. But the interest that it has incurred is interest from people that wants to take the money away from what the interest really is meant for. And the interest of this money is meant to be at Peabody so that we can get a new facility. Again, Ash got a new field house, Pineville got a new field house, Tioga got a new field house. Peabody is still in the same structure from the 70s with only 40 lockers, and we got 80 kids already. Where are we going to house them?
Well, I think you bring. I think you, just listening to you, with the new influx of students from Bolton over to Peabody, actually almost throwing Peabody into a 5A school now, right?
We are 5A school.
Okay, you are 5A school, which really, and one of the things that District 62, when it was being planned out, is it didn't call for that. That was not a part of the plan at this point in time. But now we are in that situation where we I guess we as a District 62 Alexandria schools got to make the decision to say, hey, are we going to backtrack and put the other kids over at Bolton, or are we going to go forward and say, hey, let's just go ahead and make sure we got the adequate facilities over here to deal with them.
The transition has been real good over at Peabody. The transition has been real good. We go over and we we mentor a group of kids, and we always going over to the school, visiting and talking with Mr. Stewart, the principal, talking with other administrative staff, talking with the teachers, and just walking through the school, and getting the vibe of the culture and the tone that's been set. And from day one, Mr. Stewart set a tone. And these kids have adapted to that tone. They have adapted to that culture, and the culture is all about love and unity, and moving forward and getting educated and getting the things that you need to get so you can walk across that stage. And it's gonna be hard for them kids to go back anywhere else, because they are, Peabody is home to them now, and they all, we talked to students that came from Peabody, from Bolton and other schools. Man, I didn't know it was like this over here until I got in here, and there's a vibe and a culture there now where, hey, I'm at home. I feel accepted. I feel wanted. This is where I should have been. This is where I need to be. This is where I'm going to continue to be. But those are the good things that's going on. There's a lot of good things going on in-house at the school. And, and the next good thing that needs to go on is getting a new field house so that we can continue to grow and be competitive with all of the other schools around here. Just not only in basketball, but band, baseball, football, soccer, tennis, swimming, whatever it may be. We have a school that houses all of these activities, extracurricular, sports, extracurricular activities that the school house, and we have to be able to sit here and provide the necessary facilities for our students.
Which would say, the funding decisions don't just affect today's student, but the future generation as well. What kind of impact do you foresee, Sterling, if these disparities aren't addressed? If we don't fix this problem, and you got 80 kids on the football team, 40 lockers, how is that going to impact, the kids' experience as they move forward?
I mean, it's going to be a negative impact, because these kids are going to feel defeated because they have nowhere to put their equipment up. They have nowhere to lock their clothes and their tennis shoes up. They have nowhere to store their book bags, anything like that. And it's gonna make them feel like I'm not worthy. I'm not appreciated. I'm not accepted, because this is what we have to deal with, and we shouldn't have to be doing that. You got to give kids the motivation, and you got to give kids the confidence. Hey, come look at this facility. We want you to be in this green and white. We want you to get out here on this football field and represent Warhorse Nation. And it needs to be in a positive setting, in a positive mindset. But we have to provide the facilities for our students to excel and be competitive. We got to have the weights. We got to have the tools. We got to have the tools for success. And when it comes down to sports, it starts in the classroom. But tools for success on the football field is the necessary facilities and equipment that we need to train our kids. Well, and if all the other schools have these facilities and equipment, why can't we have the same thing?
Well, in human psychology, say if you put nice things around kids, the behavior goes right along with the things that are looking good. You put a bunch of trash around them, they're gonna feel trashy about it, and that's what you're gonna get. So I had the opportunity the other day to cover Huddle expansion over at Huddle, and it was a young man came out, and he wanted Sterling to cut the ribbon, and believe it or not, he was really appreciative, of the whole process, and to see the school grow, and for them to get new stuff to perform. Now, that was the classroom, but it's the same philosophy probably that you'll see in the football, in the locker room and everything as well. The kids are gonna feel it's gonna build self-esteem when they see things around them looking really good, because I saw just how this little young man, Sterling, he was so excited to cut the ribbon. And there was some negative talk about this little kid couldn't cut the ribbon because he was being labeled as a problem child. But just to see how concerned he was about the ribbon and that damn building. And yeah, I said it. To see how proud he was, he went directly to Miss Howard over at Huddle, and he asked her himself, could he cut the ribbon? And it was the best thing that I could have ever seen. Walking around the corner, coming around the corner, was this little kid saying that I'm now gonna cut the ribbon to this new facility at Huddle. So I get it. I get it how important it is for the environment where our kids are at, for it to look good. That's why over here at UrbanCast, we were a big proponent of the District 62 fund, because we saw the deplorable conditions that all of our schools were in, including Ash. I mean, Ash, I graduated from Ash, but Ash, Bolton, Brain, AMMS, Arthur L. Smith. The schools had parts of them, Sterling, in my opinion, if you had to go walk into them and see it, it was deplorable across the board. It was a shame that we had allowed our schools here in Alexandria to get in the condition that they were in. And all our babies, I don't give a damn what area they were on. And if I've offended somebody, I'm just telling you how I feel about it, because I saw it was a necessary evil that we needed to do to improve our schools. So, I get it. I get that part. What steps would you like to see Rapides Parish School Board then take, Sterling, to assure a fairer distribution of those funds across all schools?
I mean, everybody has to think about the students, the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think about it as a whole.
That's right.
We can't keep getting caught up in the black, in the white. We got to do what's right. We're all human beings. You can't sit here and say, I love the Lord, he heard my cry. And in God we trust. You can't say amen to this and hallelujah to that. And then we have this issue of race that always comes in between what's right to do by the students. Mm-hmm. Again, if these are all our babies, let's treat all of our babies like they're our babies, regardless of their color, regardless of the texture of their hair. Because if we as the adults lead by example, then the kids are going to follow. But when you have all of this chaos and all of this back and forth and all of this and all of that, they're only seeing what's being put out there. And if they and what's going in their mindset is, if the adults don't care and act like this, why should we? And if we show more love and attention to the kids and address their needs, not our needs and wants, but their needs and wants. And what's needed right now is that these kids want a new facility so they can get out here and be competitive with just about anybody in this district and outside this district playing sports. That's all they're asking for. This ain't about me. This ain't about me. This ain't about you. It's about the kids. And we have to start making it about the kids. And I hope some of the school board members listening to this, we need y'all to be more responsible adults, because this is what we elect y'all for. We need y'all to be more responsible and more attentive to what the needs of the kids really want and need, not you. And if we can do that, things will be a lot better.
In your opinion, what can parents, students, and the community members do to hold, I know one thing that I'm gonna go ahead and finish the question. In your opinion, what do you think the parents, the student, and the community members can do to hold the school board accountable for these funding decisions?
I mean, you got to educate yourself first. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to pick up and read a proposal for a tax that's gonna put a increase in something that you're already paying, that's gonna benefit the kids. So that's like the District 62 bond. A lot of people, I don't want to pay no more taxes. I don't want to pay no more taxes. But you're complaining about what the schools look like. So before you critique and say no to everything, just read it. Call your school board member. That's what he's there for, or she's there for. Mm-hmm. Hey, I need to talk to you about this new bond issue. See, when the bond issue came up to me, I sat there and I was educated on it. I read, I asked questions, I read some more, I asked questions, I read some more, I asked questions. Went to meeting after meeting after meeting. Meeting with the superintendent, meeting with the school board reps, meeting with the principals, talking to everybody. I am a community partner in where my business is located at, but I grew up in this area. So I am a community partner with these schools. They brought me in. Hey, we want to talk to you about this. I had to listen. What is it that you need so that I can go back and say what needs to be said? And that's why I'm here now. Not only as a concerned citizen, but as a community partner. Because I want to see all of our kids do well and excel in the classroom, on the football field, on the basketball court. And I'd rather for that kid to be off the streets playing football, baseball, basketball, tennis, swimming, theater, anything than to be in the graveyard or the jailhouse.
That's right.
So that's the mindset that we as adults have to start having, especially our school board members. Quit putting our kids outside of something that they really want to do and need to do that keep them off the streets. And this is a prime example. If we can get if we can get 45, 50 more kids on that football field, guess what? That means they off the streets for another 5-6 hours a day at football practice, and then on weekends they playing on Friday night somewhere and they tired Saturday. Going to church on Sunday, back to school on Monday.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm with you, Sterling, on that, on getting to understand that bond issue. And the one thing that, of all of the different public bodies here in the community, and I'm kind of glad to see dialogue going on right now within the school system. At least there is public dialogue that is actually happening. And it happened when the school board was working on the District 62 fund as well, bond fund or what have you. And the one thing that they did come with was a clear plan and how they were planning to spend the monies. And all government bodies need to do that. It can't be just that I'm gonna take care of you and we're gonna decide at a later point how to use the monies and different things of that nature. I think it takes a buy-in, and it's a good thing to see. Just like I'm having this conversation with you, if there's somebody else out there that has a different opinion about whatever, let's have that conversation as opposed to sitting back and coming, because I think somewhere in the middle of these conversations is going to help us to move forward. And so far, Sterling, I think that, do I think our school system is perfect? Hell no. But do I think it's moving in the right direction? Hell yeah, I do. And so that's, Jeff might get mad at me because I use them explicitives a little bit, but I really believe it, and the numbers and everything is actually proving it. So,
I want to say this. I want to say this, then I got to go because I got to get to work. But I want to say this here, and I'm gonna close out on this here. All my years of being around here in Alexandria, and going to school, and going off to college and coming back home and working, and my kids being into the school system and graduating and going about their day. I can sit up here and say for the very first time, and I'll be 49 years old this year. But from when I can remember, and I got myself involved in being where I was going on in the community and dealing with politics and stuff. This superintendent, Jeff Powell, is the first superintendent that we have ever had access to like this, where he actually will come and sit down in your living room and talk to you. Come to your place of business and talk to you. Come to the schools and talk to you. Pick up the phone. Hey, and if you need to talk to him, where do I need to meet them at? Or can they come to my office? I'll set them up for an appointment. He's the first. He's the first. I've never had this much engagement with an elected official or a superintendent of the school boards like I have with Mr. Powell. And I appreciate him because the attention that he's put towards the entire district has been greatly appreciated. Have there been some mistakes? Yes, they have. Have there been some hiccups? Yes, it have. But that's human nature. But when you can sit here and admit to something, I appreciate that part also. And we need more effective leaders that we elect to own up to mistakes and things that they're putting out there and the things that they're not putting out there. And it's more so what they're not putting out there that causes a stir. So this is not a stir. It's just that we are just asking the board members to do what's right according to what's on the paper of black and white, not the issues of race of black and white.
Right.
That's all we're
Yeah, I want to go ahead and say thank you for sharing your insights and shedding light on these important issues. Transparency and fairness in school funding are essential to ensuring all of our children are having access to quality facilities and opportunities. To our audience out there, we want to say we appreciate you for tuning in and being a part of this conversation. Sorry we didn't get an opportunity to announce it, but we do definitely appreciate you for listening in. I want to also say to everybody, you got to stay engaged. You can stay engaged tonight by either coming to the school board meeting.
Go
It starts
go
at
to the
5.
meeting. It's at 5 o'clock this evening. Go to the meeting.
Yes, yeah. So stay engaged, ask questions. The school board does a good job by allowing you to ask the questions and demand accountability. And as always, we want to say thank you to our followers and our sponsors, Sadler's Towing, Long's Products, Legendary Kung Fu, and Tai Chi for supporting community-driven discussions like this one. Until that next time, stay informed and stay involved, you guys. Y'all have a great day.